had lost my best friend, turns out she faked her death to get with my husband. Renee and I had been inseparable since we were 5 years old. She gave the most beautiful speech at my wedding to Michael 3 years ago. She wasn't just my best friend, she was my sister in every way that mattered. So when I got the call about her car accident, I collapsed on my kitchen floor and couldn't stop screaming. I flew across the country for her funeral, held her mother while she sobbed, and spent weeks unable to function. Michael was so patient with me, bringing me meals I couldn't eat and holding me through the nightmares. But grief does strange things to your mind, and mine started noticing things that didn't add up. I was helping Renee's mom sort through her apartment when I found her calendar whiteboard. The month before her death was completely blank. No plans, no appointments, nothing. Renee was the busiest person I knew. She color-coded her weekends and never left a single day empty the 3 months before that were packed solid, but then nothing, just empty white space, like she was planning to disappear. I stared at that board for so long, her mom asked if I was okay. I lied and said I was fine, but I took photos of everything on my phone. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the empty calendar and started looking at her previous appointments. She had gone to the same laundromat every Tuesday for months. I called them the next morning pretending I needed to pick up her things. They said she hadn't been there in over 4 months. 4 months before her death she stopped going, but kept writing it on her calendar. Why would someone fake appointments? I started checking everything. The grocery store she supposedly visited 3 times a week. I convinced a teenager working there to show me security footage from the dates on her calendar, and there she was loading massive carts of food enough for 2 people living together. My hands were shaking as I drove home. Michael was in the kitchen making dinner and asked how I was doing. I told him about the calendar, about the fake appointments, about the groceries. He went completely still, his back to me stirring pasta that didn't need stirring. I asked him if he thought it was strange, and he said maybe she was planning to move. Maybe she didn't want to tell you yet. His voice sounded wrong. Forced, I asked him to turn around and look at me, and when he finally did, his eyes were red. I pulled up her phone records online that night, something I could access because we shared a family plan for years. There were hundreds of calls to one number in the months before her death. I didn't recognize it. I called it the next morning. Hands shaking, a woman answered and said hello, and I froze. It was Renee's voice. I hung up and threw my phone across the room, then picked it up and called back this time. A man answered. I asked who this was, and he said, "This is Michael's phone." "Who is this?" I was calling my own husband. I drove to the address listed for that phone number. My GPS led me 2 hours away to a small house I'd never seen. Before there was a car in the driveway. Renee's car, the one that was supposedly totaled in the accident. I sat in my car for 30 minutes, trying to breathe, trying to think. Then the front door opened, and there they were. Renee and Michael holding grocery bags, laughing together. She was wearing my robe, the one I thought I lost months ago. He kissed her forehead the way he used to kiss mine. I got out of my car and walked straight up the driveway. They didn't see me until I was 10 feet away. Renee dropped her bags, and Michael's face went white. I stood there looking at my dead best friend and my husband, and asked how long Renee started crying, saying she could explain. But I held up my hand. I told her I had already figured it out. The empty calendar, the fake appointments, the grocery runs for 2 people. I told Michael I knew about the phone, about the calls, about everything he tried to step toward me. But I backed away. I asked them one question. When did you decide I was disposable? Renee said it just happened that they fell in love and didn't know how to tell me. So they planned this. She would fake her death, collect insurance, move away with Michael once enough time passed. Michael would leave me saying he needed a fresh start, and they'd be together somewhere. I'd never find them. I asked how they planned to kill me off in their story. Renee looked at the ground and whispered, "We were going to say you couldn't cope with losing me." I recorded everything on my phone, the whole conversation. I told them I was keeping the house, keeping everything, and they could have each other. I drove to a lawyer that same day, filed for divorce, sent the recording to Renee's mother, to her insurance company, to everyone who mourned. For Renee lost everything, her reputation, her insurance payout. Her family, Michael lost me his job when his boss found out, and any chance at a quiet life with his fake dead girlfriend. Last week, Renee called from a blocked number, begging me to tell people it was a misunderstanding, that she had amnesia. I asked her if she remembered giving that speech at my wedding. She went quiet. I said, "Good, because I'll never forget how you looked me in the eyes and called me your sister." Then decided I didn't matter enough to keep living, for I hung up. Now when people ask what happened to my best friend, I tell them the truth. She died the day she decided my husband was worth more than 20 years of friendship.